News outlets usually describe video games to be the root of all evil, but what if I told you they're somewhat right? Okay, not really.
Nintendo DS is going to redefine portable handheld gaming the way iPod is redefining music.
Well, stop the music, because it's also redefining how vulnerable your kids are to child molestation.
Video games have the power to allow us to escape from reality. Okay, saying that is kinda corny. They even have the power to have something evil attached to it. Throughout the years, countless tales have emerged of video games that are believed to possess strange or mysterious occurrences like unsettling glitches or even supernatural elements that can leave players confused or frightened. While some cursed games are merely urban legends or rumors, others have been well documented with creepy and eerie experiences shared by players. In this video, we will explore the world of cursed video games and debunk some of these rumors, so sit back, relax, and let's just get into the video. Taboo, the Sixth Sense. Taboo the Sixth Sense is a tarot card reading simulation developed by Rare and published by TradeWest for the Nintendo Entertainment System in April 1989. The main selling point of the game was that it generates lucky numbers. It's slapped right on the box. I couldn't find any story of people winning the lottery. It could be because the game is literally a scam. You're paying for a random number generator. Now let's talk about the gameplay. Upon loading the game requires inputs of the player's name, birth date, gender, address, social security. Okay, I'm lying about the last. The game then asks the user to input a question. For example, probably the most asked question, I'm guessing, am I going to be rich or get married? The game then shuffles the cards and generates a tarot reading with this music that is straight fucking gas. I also want to throw out there, I have little to no knowledge about what tarot reading is. I know that it predicts your future or death. I know that it's a red flag when it comes to people, and I don't even know what the cards even mean. So I'm just going to highlight the major cards according to Google. The Fool. The card represents new beginnings, having faith in the future, being inexperienced, not knowing what to expect, having beginner's luck, improvisation, and believing in the universe. The Wheel of Fortune. The key meanings are good luck, destiny, change, karma, soulmates, decisive moments, circles of life, faith, fortune, upheaval, and chance. And the last card I want to highlight, Death. Obviously meaning death. I don't even know why I'm highlighting this card. There's like 19 other cards. If you're interested, I will leave a link to a website that has all the card meanings if you want to look into that. It turns out that Taboo is the only NES game to carry 2 warnings, that it's intended for players ages 14 and older, and the game is intended for entertainment purposes only. It has a warning in the manual reading, quote, "We are not responsible for what may happen with Taboo or any effect, influence, or miracle that may occur in relation to the game." With all these disclaimers in the back end manual, Taboo was marketed as a party game, but once again, the game was meant for an older audience. It could be because the game literally had shit like this. I know, calm down, don't get too aroused. The rumor or urban legend surrounding Taboo and the Sixth Sense was after a few months from its release, the game had accurately predicted the deaths of some of the young players. Oh my god, fuck. The game had accurately predicted the death of some of its young players, all below the age of 14. I spent a whole hour of research trying to find these stories. There's 2 that are usually thrown around. One of those stories being some kids who were playing the game did their readings and said one of them are going to die, and to their surprise it happened just a week later. Another story surrounding Taboo was a kid joining a cult because of the game. Well, he didn't join a cult, it was speculated, he just went missing, and I actually found the story on a Reddit page about Taboo and the Sixth Sense. Okay, I know it's Reddit and it's not trustworthy, but once again, it's just some urban legend. A father posted his story on Reddit about his experience with the game, saying that he bought the game for his son because his son loved really old and odd video games. After he had given it to him, the son started acting a lot more irritable. He would get mad at almost every little thing that the dad did, and he would spend almost all of his time in his room playing the game. The only time he ever came out would be to eat, and once a week go out with some of his friends and do some random ass side quests, and come back late at night and go up and start playing the game again. I don't know how he got entertained with this, it's literally just a card generator. His grades went down at school, he never had any friends over or did any of the things he used to do. Then one day he went out with some of his friends and he never came back, he disappeared without a trace. The father checked his room, which he should have done in the first place like a long time ago. Clothes and food were thrown all over the floor. There was a Coke stain that had mushrooms growing on it. He also found the game. It was neatly placed in the NES and was just the only thing that wasn't broken or ruined. After these rumors and stories surfaced, Nintendo immediately took the game off shelves to mainly avoid lawsuits, of course. There's still copies out there selling between $5 to $20. I don't advise you to buy the game because it's not really worth checking out. The game just got some lucky RNG that happened to predict someone's death. Pokemon Red and Green, the original. If you're a Pokemon fan, you probably heard of the term Lavender Town Syndrome, an urban legend about a creepy tune in Pokemon Red and Green. If you don't know what Pokemon Red and Green is, it's a pair of games that were released on the Nintendo Game Boy on February 27th, 1996 in Japan, and were later released in North America as Pokemon Red and Blue. The myth surrounding the game was that the Lavender Town tune drove children insane and made them commit suicide. If you haven't heard the theme before, I'm just gonna play a bit of it, and hopefully this video doesn't get copyrighted, which probably it will. According to the legend, Lavender Town Syndrome was born when about 100 Japanese children from 10 to 15 years of age jumped to their death, hung themselves, or mutilated themselves in some type of way. This all happened a couple days following the release of Pokemon Red and Green. Other children supposedly complained about nausea and severe headaches. Officials eventually discovered that children were hurting themselves or fell ill after listening to the Lavender Town's background music. The urban legend states the original Lavender Town theme contains a high-pitched tone that compels children to lose their minds. Since our ability to hear high-pitched tones diminishes as we age, young children were at risk to the Lavender Town curse. Upon the release in North America, the Lavender Town tune sounds more different. Before North America and other countries would allow to produce Pokemon Red and Blue, the programmers went to go fix the Lavender Town theme, lowering the frequency to probably prevent other children from going mentally insane. Minecraft. There's a lot of urban legends and creepypastas tied to the game Minecraft. I'm saying that even though I only know 2. Over the years, the sandbox game, first created in 2009, became one of the biggest games of all time. There's merchandise and countless videos about Minecraft on YouTube. The videos range from Let's Plays, building tutorials, and 3 AM videos. Looking back at these 3 AM videos, for some reason, there's a lot more creepypastas than I remembered. Like, who the fuck is John? I'm not going to be talking about any of the modern creepypastas. I'm going to take it way back to the first ever urban legend or creepypasta, whatever you want to call it, that came from the game Minecraft. An entity that will haunt your world and destroy everything you created and kill your dog while leaving these landmarks. Herobrine is a creepypasta, first originated around 2010. The basics of the story is that a streamer by the name of Copeland started up a single player world, only to sometimes notice a Steve-like figure in the distance, but the eyes were washed out. Whenever the player spotted him, the figure would run away. He would see no name pop up over his head and ensured he wasn't in multiplayer mode. The player then proceeded to find structures that were deemed abnormal or player-made. Examples include 2x2 tunnels, sand pyramids in the ocean, and even trees with all the leaves gone, and all of these were attributed to this figure. The user went on to post on forums asking if anyone had encountered similar situations in their world, to which the posts were deleted within minutes. After multiple attempts, the user was sent a private message from a user named Herobrine which said, "Stop." The user then went on to go click on his profile, which would lead to a 404 error. The user then got in contact with a few of the community members who all cooperated their stories. A month or so passed while research was conducted on Herobrine. It turns out the name was frequently used by a Swedish player. After some more information gathering, it was discovered that it was the brother of the head developer of Minecraft, Notch. The user went on to say he personally emailed Notch about if he had a brother or not, to which he replied, "I did, but he is no longer with us." Marcus Pearson, aka Notch, one of the creators of Minecraft, first talked about the entity in Minecon 2010. He claimed while Herobrine was a myth, there might be a possibility that he's real. And this comment right here made the entire community go wild, and Herobrine was at his peak in popularity. Almost every Minecraft video at the time was on Herobrine, like prank videos and sightings. With Herobrine at its peak, the developers at Mojang were overflooded with emails about the entity, and in 2011, Notch went to Twitter, or X, fucking hate that name change, to debunk this rumor, saying that he doesn't have a brother and Herobrine doesn't exist. Now let's talk about the community and how they dealt with this information. After Notch's tweet, they were in denial. They still believed that Herobrine existed, exist. I don't know why. People were making claims that Herobrine was in the game's code, but he wasn't. It was just a hoax, but people still believe that he exists. And in 2012, Notch came to Twitter to debunk the claim once again, saying the exact same thing, that he doesn't have a brother and Herobrine doesn't exist. After 9 long years, the community was in the last stage of grief. Just to fuck with him once more, in the 1.10 patch notes, it says that they removed Herobrine, and this left players confused, believing that he was real all along, and if he was, he's dead. Now let's look at the bright side. They found the Herobrine seed and the exact coordinates where they spotted him. Y'all probably already know this. I'm just gonna move on. You know Notch sold Minecraft just to make controversial tweets? Okay, I'm moving on now. Polybius. The story of this haunted game first circulated in the early 2000s. The main premise of the story is that in Portland, Oregon back in 1981, a number of arcade machines randomly popped up one day. The mysterious game allegedly gave players a number of strange side effects after playing. This includes amnesia, insomnia, night terrors, and even hallucinations. It was also reported that players would randomly hear a crying woman as the game progressed. Additionally, there were rumors that the Men in Black were taking data from the Polybius arcade machines. This led the idea that it was some sort of government experiment. The systems were around for apparently only a month before they all mysteriously disappeared and were never seen again. Considering the first mention of the story occurred on an old forum site called coinop.org on February 6, 2000, it's very unlikely that after all these years we know for sure if it's a true story or not, because the game came out in 1981 and apparently was around for only a month. However, over the years multiple people have came out stating that they played the game and shared their own stories. One of the most popular stories surrounding the game came from someone by the name of Bobby Fieldstein, who claimed he was abducted while playing the game. He suffered mind-alerting side effects after being abducted and was found the next day 60 plus miles away from his home. There's a lot of theories surrounding Polybius and the Men in Black, as well as the side effects that came from playing the game. One of the biggest theories was that the arcade game was used to send subliminal messages to the players in result of controlling their mind. This is why so many people reported these side effects, as the game was experimenting on them. This also explains the Men in Black that were reported to be hanging around the machines. They were perhaps checking to see how well the mind control attempts have gone. And also it's a theory that the government wanted to test mind control on people, so they made these machines and sent the Men in Black to collect their data. Another popular theory that involves the government is that the arcade machines were used to recruit potential CIA or other government agents. The idea was that the game would test players' mental capabilities, with the ones who were deemed unworthy will experience these side effects and the ones who were deemed worthy enough will not. No shit. In this theory, the Men in Black were checking the results to see if anyone had passed the test. The main drawback of this theory is why only set it up in Portland, Oregon and not all over the US. And about the Fieldstein story and how this theory is tied to it, perhaps he was worthy and his kidnapping was just part of a test. NBA Jam 1993. The original NBA Jam was developed and released by Midway for the arcades in 1993. The roster consists of all 27 NBA teams at the time and the 2 star players from each team. The gameplay is a 2-on-2 arcade-style basketball game that features over-the-top gameplay. The exaggerated nature of the gameplay means that players can perform gravity-defying dunks with ease and shove opposing players down without a penalty. The only fouls a player can commit in NBA Jam are goaltending and shot clock violations. A trademark of the NBA Jam series is the ability for players to catch on fire. This occurs when players make 3 consecutive shots and it gives the player a boost. Each game also consists of 4 3-minute long quarters, and whoever has the most points at the end of the game obviously wins. Now I want to bring up the roster once again. Some players such as Michael Jordan could not appear in the game due to licensing issues, and on the home console version, Shaq and Charles Barkley were removed also due to licensing issues. There's over 54 playable characters in the original arcade NBA Jam, and the creepy thing about this roster was that one of these star players haunted the game. Now, back when NBA Jam was released in 1993, one of the playable characters was net star Drazen Petrovic, who was coming off his best season, averaging 22.3 points on a 51.8% shooting from the floor. On June 7th, 1993, Drazen sadly passed away in a car accident, just a few months later after the release of NBA Jam. And ever since that day he passed, the arcade machine started acting strange. I mean, look what the founder Mark Turmel had to say.
Ghost in the machine. That's kind of, yeah, I don't know if you guys have heard of Drazen Petrovic, but he was a NBA player from Eastern Black Country, and he was on the New Jersey Nets. And after he made the cut, the initial game was, we only had 2 players per team. He died the next year, and somehow the coin-operated game in the attract mode, when nobody's playing, would every once in a while would just call out Petrovic, Petrovic, just out of the blue. And so people caught on to that there was felt like a haunted game. And so I don't know how that glitch could happen or what. It doesn't make any sense.
Things like that happen,
Yeah.
Petrovic.
The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. In September 2010, a college student who goes by the name Jaducible bought a suspicious N64 cartridge labeled Majora, indicating it to be a copy of The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. He bought the game from a suspicious old man at a garage sale with the save data of the former owner bin still on it. As he plays the game, these creepy glitches begin to pop up, leading him to go to the online site 4chan as well as YouTube to post about his playing of the game as it unfolds. Chapter 1. Day 4. A friend had recently given Jaducible a old N64 for his dorm room, having really no games for his console, only Smash Bros. Out of boredom, he subsequently drove around the college neighborhood in search of more games. He came across this strange house. A displeasing, seemingly blind old man greeted him outside the house, and retreated inside after hearing he was interested in buying old video games. The man returned and handed him a blank cartridge with the word Majora written across, and said that he can have the game for free, and apparently the game belonged to a child named Ben. He was skeptical at first, but he took the game anyways, because it was free. He boots up the game at his dorm room to find one save file titled Bin and was nearly completed. He started up his own file. The gameplay was strangely fluid for a nondescript cartridge, only textual problems, and sometimes the NPCs called his character Link, and other times Bin. He decided to delete the Bin save file, but that did not help. The characters now called him Blank, or nothing. He put the game down for the night. Upon picking up the game again the next day, he attempted to do the famous 4th day glitch, but that didn't go as planned. His character appeared in the Majora's boss room with Skull Kid levitating above. Jaducible moved to press the reset button on the N64. The game then flashed a quote, seemingly communicating with him. A choice option appeared next on the screen, and upon selecting a choice, the game faded to black, and Link appeared in a twilight zone in uninhabited Clocktown. At this point, he felt as he was in some form of danger. He had the feeling that something was there, in the place where the normal characters had been. Maybe they were just invisible. Creepy music began to continuously loop, ascending and descending in volume. The strange atmosphere brought him on the verge of tears, placing him into a void of depression. He found that he was unable to leave Clocktown no matter what he tried. He then saw a frightening clip of Link clutching his head, as well as the scream and the face of the happy mask salesman. He eventually was being followed by a Link statue that could be summoned using the song Elegy of Emptiness. Link was constantly followed by the statue. The salesman's head continuously flashed on the screen. Link then appeared on the clock tower. Before he could play his ocarina, Link went into flames and died. The screen faded to black and returned to the menu screen. The file was originally named Link Was Now Your Turn. He selected the file only to see Link dead and Skull Kid levitating above him for half a minute. Upon resetting, the menu screen not only revealed the file Your Turn, but one below read Bin. Chapter 2. Bin. That night, Jaducible dreamed about the Link statue. In the morning, he decided to go back to the house of the man who gave him the cartridge, but no one was home. He asked a few questions to the next door neighbor cutting the grass and eventually asked about Bin, which the neighbor told him an incident occurred with Bin that forced his parents to move from the neighborhood 8 years ago. Jaducible returned to his dorm and selected the bin file after a bit of hesitation. The file is a mangled mess of graphics and sound. A twisted, seemingly dead Link stood outside the Stone Tower Temple with devilish sounds playing. A Link statue formed out of nowhere, and then everything faded to the Dawn of a New Day screen. The screen opened and he was now controlling Deku Link in Clock Tower with a strange camera angle looking from behind the Clock Tower door. The salesman appeared and the screen flashed to Termina Field, switching to Link again. salesman. The strange music continued. Walking through Termina Field, the salesman, Epona, Skull Kid, and the Link statue were all standing in a line near the entrance of the southern swamp. The salesman's gaze followed Link wherever he moved. He then took out his ocarina to play the Song of Healing. After finishing the song, Link died. Immediately, Link spawned at the Great Bay after a small cutscene of the Zora mass transformation. He found Epona on the shore. It seemed that she was signaling something, pointing towards the ocean. He then dived into the water to find a Link statue at the bottom of the lake. Suddenly, Zora Link began violently choking and died right next to the statue. Chapter 3. Drowned. This short chapter is more of a personal reflection on Jeduceable, saying that Ben seemed to have taken over his dreams. He attributed every action he did in the game to the fact he thought Ben was watching him and simultaneously controlling his ideas. He had skipped all of his classes and closed himself in his dorm so that Ben could not watch him. He noted that the game had spoken to him using Ben's name. The game file he created originally has returned, but he has no interest in continuing the game, and all he wants to do is go home. Chapter 4. Jeduceable. This chapter was written from the perspective of Jeduceable's college roommate. The roommate was sure that Jeduceable was alright having just moved out, going back home. However, he did note that he had been rooming with a friend as he had been wary of Jeduceable's recent paranoid behavior. He rarely ate, slept, or left the room. Before leaving, he entrusted his roommate with a flash drive that held all the recorded footage from the cartridge. The flash drive not only contained the videos, the password to Jeduceable's YouTube account, but also a document entitled The Truth. Chapter 5. The Truth. The Truth was a document that described Jeduceable's interactions with the game in a bit more depth than his text or video recounts. He recounted that he originally believed the game to be an elaborate hoax, but when he was contacted by a clever bot online by Ben himself, the hoax became real and slowly began to consume his life. It became evident that Ben enjoyed playing with him, messing with him through the game. Jeduceable realized that Ben went so far as to alter his videos of the game and his summaries of the events. Jeduceable not only wanted others to know of Ben and the events, but he even went as far to cleverly name his videos in a way so that Ben would be unaware, and never use a lens of truth or the gossip stones throughout the playthrough. The document ended with Jeduceable signing off, glad he was able to transfer the information to the world through warning others to be wary of the summaries and the videos as they still contain Ben and remain dangerous. One of his last remarks is that he never had a roommate, confirming that the person who posted the last video and its summary was indeed Ben. Moon Children Arc. A few days after Free was uploaded, Jeduceable's YouTube channel underwent several changes, including the addition of several ciphers that led to a new website called You Shouldn't Have Done That.net. On the surface, it appeared to be a site belonging to a cult who worshipped the moon. The website contained a hidden image of the elegy statue when moused over, hinting at a connection between the cult and Ben. Something I also want to bring up is Kilbreeze, also known as the Father, the leader and the founder of the Moon Children. It is said that the person who was responsible for killing Ben is the man called the Father, who sacrificed him by drowning him in a pool. The end. In 2020, the ARG officially resumed and finally concluded on October 31st, or Halloween, with a 36-minute long video titled The End. And there you have it. If you made it this far, I fucking love you. I had so much fun making this video. It's one of my longer videos. Ignore that. I want to get to the point where I'm pretty consistent with this channel, where I can upload a video once or twice a month. Hopefully I can get there and the content is way better. But once again, if you enjoyed this video, you should leave a like, subscribe, turn on post notifications. It will notify you the next time I upload. And feel free to comment a creepy experience you had playing a game. And yeah, that's about it too.